Have you ever found yourself stuck in a loop of negative thoughts, unable to break free? Maybe you've experienced the overwhelming sensation that your mind is taking over, constantly feeding you worries, doubts, and insecurities. It's easy to feel as though your thoughts control you, shaping your reality in a way that leaves you anxious and exhausted. But what if I told you that you have the power to change this? In this video, we're going to dive into how to overcome negative thoughts and stop them from controlling your mind. The truth is, your thoughts don't define you. You define your thoughts. With a few simple but powerful strategies, you can take back control of your mind, reduce stress, and start living a life where your thoughts no longer hold you hostage. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by your own thinking, you're not alone. We all experience negative thoughts at times, but the key is learning how to break the cycle before they spiral out of control. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to interrupt negative thinking patterns, reframe your thoughts, and create a mindset that empowers you. So if you're ready to reclaim your mental clarity and stop letting your mind take the wheel, keep watching. Together, we'll learn how to quiet the inner noise and start living with intention and peace. We all have moments when our thoughts seem to get the best of us. The constant stream of worries, doubts, and fears can be overwhelming, leaving us feeling stressed, anxious, and sometimes even powerless. It's easy to believe that we are our thoughts, that they define who we are, and that we have no control over them. This is where the real issue lies. Negative thoughts not only take over our minds, but they also shape our emotions, behaviors, and ultimately, our experiences. Have you ever caught yourself replaying a mistake from the past over and over again? Or perhaps you find yourself constantly worrying about the future, what might go wrong, what others might think, or what could happen if things don't go as planned. These thoughts, though normal, can quickly become harmful when they dominate our minds. They create a sense of anxiety that prevents us from enjoying the present moment and can make us feel trapped in a cycle of fear and uncertainty. The problem is that when we focus too much on the negative thoughts, they start to feel real, as if they were an inevitable part of who we are. Over time, we begin to believe that we are our thoughts, and this belief can lead to self-doubt, low self-esteem, and even depression. We often start to feel like there's no way out, no way to break free from the endless loop of negativity. But here's the truth. Your mind doesn't have to control you. The more you allow negative thoughts to dictate your emotions and actions, the more power you give them. However, with the right tools and mindset, you can stop this cycle. The first step is acknowledging the problem, recognizing that negative thoughts are just that, thoughts. They are not truths, and they do not have to define your reality. In the following sections, we will explore how to identify these negative thought patterns, challenge them, and create new, healthier ways of thinking. By understanding the root of these thoughts and how they impact our lives, you will be better equipped to take control of your mind and begin shifting toward a more positive and balanced mindset. To better understand how to overcome negative thoughts, it's important to first explore where they come from. Why do our minds often gravitate toward negativity? Why does our brain seem to fixate on the things that worry or upset us, even when there is no immediate threat? This tendency is rooted in both evolutionary psychology and the way our brains are wired to react to stimuli. The brain's evolutionary response. Our brains are designed to keep us safe, which is why they are naturally inclined to focus on negative or potentially harmful stimuli. This is a survival mechanism that helped our ancestors identify and respond to threats, such as predators or dangerous environments. Over time, this negativity bias became ingrained in human nature, meaning that the brain gives more weight to negative experiences than to positive ones. For example, if you experience a stressful event, your brain might automatically focus on the negative aspects, such as what went wrong, what you could have done better, or what could happen in the future. In contrast, positive experiences, such as a job well done or a pleasant conversation, might not have the same lasting impact. This bias makes it much easier for negative thoughts to take root, even when there is no real danger. The role of cognitive patterns. While negativity bias is part of our biological wiring, The way we think about our thoughts plays a huge role in whether they become persistent and damaging. Many of us fall into negative thinking patterns such as catastrophizing, overgeneralizing, or all-or-nothing thinking that perpetuate feelings of anxiety, stress, and fear. Catastrophizing is when we take a small problem and imagine the worst possible outcome. For instance, if you make a mistake at work, you might think, "I'm going to get fired, and my career will be over." This extreme form of thinking often exaggerates the problem and leaves no room for rational thought. Overgeneralization occurs when we make sweeping conclusions based on a single event. For example, after facing rejection in a social situation, you might think, "I'm terrible at making friends," even though that one experience doesn't define your entire social life. All-or-nothing thinking involves viewing situations as either completely good or completely bad, with no middle ground. For example, if you fail to meet a personal goal, you might think, "I'm a failure," rather than recognizing that everyone has setbacks and it doesn't diminish your worth or abilities. These cognitive patterns reinforce negative thought cycles and can make it difficult to see situations clearly, leading to feelings of helplessness and frustration. The key to overcoming these negative thoughts is to break these patterns and learn how to challenge them. The power of self-talk. Our thoughts are often fueled by the way we talk to ourselves. Self-talk, the internal dialogue that runs through our minds, plays a significant role in shaping how we perceive the world. Negative self-talk, such as calling yourself names, criticizing your actions, or assuming the worst, can magnify feelings of inadequacy and stress. For instance, if you encounter a challenge, negative self-talk might sound like, "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed." This type of thinking reinforces negative emotions and can prevent you from taking action, leading to a cycle of self-doubt and anxiety. On the other hand, positive self-talk encourages self-compassion and resilience. By practicing affirmations, reminding yourself of past successes, or focusing on your strengths, you can shift the narrative from one of limitation to one of possibility and growth. Breaking the cycle. The formation of negative thoughts is not an isolated incident. It's part of a cycle that is influenced by our brain's natural tendencies, cognitive patterns, and self-talk. By understanding how negative thoughts are formed, we can begin to interrupt the cycle. The first step is recognizing when these thoughts arise and challenging them with healthier, more realistic perspectives. In the next section, we'll dive into specific strategies for breaking the cycle of negative thinking. These tools will help you regain control over your mind and start shifting your focus toward more constructive and positive ways of thinking. Now that we understand how negative thoughts form and the impact they have on our lives, it's time to explore practical strategies for breaking the cycle and taking control of our minds. These techniques, while simple, can be extremely powerful when practiced consistently. They allow you to challenge your negative thoughts, change your mindset, and ultimately regain control over your emotions and actions. 1. Cognitive restructuring. 300 words. Cognitive restructuring is a technique used to identify, challenge, and reframe negative or irrational thoughts. The idea is to replace unhealthy or exaggerated thinking patterns with more realistic and balanced perspectives. How to apply cognitive restructuring. Identify the negative thought. Start by noticing when a negative thought arises. For example, if you're thinking, "I'll never be able to achieve my goals," acknowledge that thought as negative. Challenge the thought. Ask yourself, is this thought based on facts or assumptions? What evidence do I have to support this thought? You'll often find that the thought is exaggerated or unsupported by evidence. Reframe the thought. Replace the negative thought with a more balanced one. For example, instead of, "I'll never succeed," try, "I've faced challenges before, and I've always found ways to overcome them. I can work through this and learn from it." By repeatedly practicing cognitive restructuring, you'll begin to weaken the negative thought patterns that once controlled your mind, replacing them with healthier, more empowering beliefs. 2. Mindfulness and conscious breathing. 300 words. Mindfulness involves being fully present in the moment and observing your thoughts without judgment. When negative thoughts arise, mindfulness helps you detach from them instead of getting caught up in them. By practicing mindfulness, you can increase your awareness of your thought patterns and break free from the grip of negativity. How to practice mindfulness in breathing. Pause and observe. When you feel overwhelmed by negative thoughts, take a moment to pause. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. Notice the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. Accept your thoughts. Acknowledge that negative thoughts are just thoughts. They don't define you, and they don't have the power to control you unless you let them. Observe them without judgment and allow them to pass like clouds drifting through the sky. Focus on your breath. Breathe deeply and slowly. When you inhale, count to 4. Hold for 4 counts, and then exhale slowly for 4 counts. This simple breathing technique helps calm your nervous system and bring your mind back to the present moment. By practicing mindfulness regularly, you develop the ability to be present and observe your thoughts without becoming emotionally attached to them. This allows you to interrupt the cycle of negative thinking and regain a sense of control. 3. Thought substitution. 300 words. Sometimes, negative thoughts can be so persistent that they seem impossible to shake off. In these cases, thought substitution can be an effective technique. This method involves consciously replacing a negative thought with a positive or neutral one. It works because our minds have a limited capacity to focus on multiple thoughts at once, so when we replace a negative thought with something more uplifting, the negative thought loses its power. How to practice thought substitution. Identify the negative thought. When a negative thought enters your mind, catch it immediately. For instance, if you think, "I'm terrible at this," recognize it as a negative thought that's holding you back. Challenge the thought. Briefly pause and question whether this thought is true or helpful. Recognize that it is simply one perspective, and there are other ways to view the situation. Replace with a positive thought. Consciously choose a more positive or neutral thought. For example, you could replace "I'm terrible at this" with "I may not be perfect, but I'm improving with each step I take." The more you practice thought substitution, the easier it becomes to replace negative thoughts with healthier alternatives. Over time, this will reprogram your mind to focus on solutions and possibilities rather than on obstacles and limitations. 4. The 5-second rule. The 5-second rule is a simple but powerful technique that helps break the cycle of negative thoughts before they take control. When negative thinking begins to spiral, the 5-second rule gives you a quick way to interrupt the thought pattern and reset your focus. How to use the 5-second rule. Pause the negative thought. As soon as you notice a negative thought forming, immediately count to 5. This interrupts the mental cycle and gives you a moment to pause before reacting. Take action. Once you reach 5, take a small action that shifts your attention away from the negative thought. It could be something as simple as standing up, taking a deep breath, or changing your focus to something more positive. Redirect your focus. After taking action, shift your focus to something you can control. For example, think about a goal you are working toward or something you are grateful for. By focusing on something positive, you will quickly pull yourself out of the negative thought pattern. The 5-second rule works because it creates an immediate shift in your focus, preventing negative thoughts from spiraling out of control. It's an effective tool to break the habit of ruminating on negativity and redirect your energy into something more productive. 5. Affirmations and positive self-talk. Negative thoughts often arise from negative beliefs about ourselves. These beliefs can become ingrained over time, affecting our self-esteem and confidence. One of the most powerful ways to counteract negative thoughts is through the practice of affirmations and positive self-talk. How to use affirmations and positive self-talk. Identify limiting beliefs. Pay attention to the negative beliefs you have about yourself. These might include thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never be successful." Create positive affirmations. For each negative belief, create a positive affirmation that contradicts it. For example, instead of "I'm not good enough," try saying, "I am worthy of success and happiness." Repeat your affirmations daily. Start each day by repeating your affirmations out loud or in your mind. The more you practice this, the more you reprogram your brain to focus on positive beliefs about yourself. Affirmations and positive self-talk can help you replace negative self-criticism with self-compassion and self-empowerment. Over time, this shift in mindset will make it easier to dismiss negative thoughts and replace them with more constructive ones. These practical strategies provide powerful tools to break the cycle of negative thinking and regain control over your mind. With consistent practice, you'll start to notice a shift in your thought patterns, moving from negativity to positivity and empowerment. In the next section, we will explore how negative thoughts impact your life and well-being, and why it is essential to take action now to change them. We've already explored how negative thoughts form and the strategies you can use to challenge them, but it's important to understand just how deeply these thoughts can impact your life if left unchecked. Negative thoughts not only cloud your perception of reality, but they also have the power to affect your physical, emotional, and social well-being. The longer these thoughts persist, the more they can shape your experience of life in a way that feels limiting, stressful, and unfulfilling. 1. Mental and emotional impact. Negative thoughts often lead to emotional distress, and over time, this can accumulate into chronic anxiety, sadness, and even depression. When you constantly focus on what's going wrong or what could go wrong, your emotional state becomes consumed by fear, self-doubt, and frustration. For example, when you find yourself ruminating on a past mistake or worrying about the future, your emotional state can fluctuate between regret and dread. This constant emotional turmoil can exhaust you, leaving you feeling drained and disconnected from the present moment. Furthermore, when negative thoughts become a habitual response to challenges, your ability to manage your emotions in healthy ways diminishes. Instead of dealing with stress or setbacks constructively, you may resort to avoidance, self-criticism, or even unhealthy coping mechanisms like overeating, procrastination, or excessive drinking. 2. Physical effects of chronic negative thinking. The mind-body connection is powerful. Negative thoughts can trigger a stress response in your body, which, if chronic, can have long-term health consequences. When you experience stress due to negative thinking, your body produces stress hormones like cortisol. These hormones prepare you for fight or flight, which in short bursts can be helpful. However, prolonged exposure to high levels of cortisol can weaken your immune system, disrupt sleep patterns, and even contribute to chronic health problems like heart disease, diabetes, and digestive issues. Negative thinking can also cause muscle tension, headaches, and general physical discomfort as your body responds to the emotional strain. Over time, the physical toll of these thoughts can become as debilitating as the mental strain, leading to a vicious cycle where the body and mind work against each other. 3. Impact on relationships. Negative thoughts don't just affect you, they also affect the way you interact with others. When you are consumed by negativity, it can be difficult to be fully present with the people in your life. You may find yourself withdrawing emotionally, becoming irritable, or projecting your insecurities onto others. This can create tension in relationships, whether with family, friends, or coworkers. If you're constantly worried about how others perceive you, or assuming the worst about them, you may misinterpret their actions or words, leading to misunderstandings and conflict. Over time, this emotional distance can erode your relationships, leaving you feeling more isolated and misunderstood. Additionally, when negative thinking becomes pervasive, you might start to see the world through a lens of distrust, suspicion, or cynicism. This defensive mindset, while aimed at protecting you from perceived threats, can prevent you from forming meaningful connections or experiencing the warmth and support that healthy relationships offer. 4. Career and personal growth challenges. Constant negative thinking can also hold you back from achieving your career and personal goals. When you are trapped in self-doubt, it becomes difficult to take the necessary steps toward success. For example, you may procrastinate because you fear failure or feel that you're not good enough for the task at hand. Negative thoughts also feed into perfectionism, where you delay projects or hold yourself back, thinking that unless it's done perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. This fear of failure or inadequacy can prevent you from taking risks or pursuing new opportunities, both of which are essential for personal growth and career advancement. Over time, This can lead to stagnation, frustration, and a lack of fulfillment in both your professional and personal life. Now that we've seen how deeply negative thoughts can affect various aspects of your life, it's clear that taking action to stop them from taking over is not just important for mental health. It's essential for overall well-being. In the next section, we will explore real-life success stories and testimonies to inspire you, showing that it is possible to break free from the cycle of negativity and reclaim control of your life. Now that we've discussed the negative impact that unchecked negative thoughts can have on your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, it's time to look at real-life examples of people who have successfully overcome negative thinking. These stories can serve as powerful reminders that breaking free from negative thought patterns is not only possible, but it can lead to profound transformations in every area of life. 1. Maria's journey, from anxiety to confidence. Maria, a 32-year-old marketing professional, had always struggled with self-doubt. She constantly worried about her performance at work, fearing that she wasn't good enough, and thought her colleagues might think she was incompetent. This negative self-talk impacted her confidence and caused severe anxiety, especially during meetings and presentations. One day, Maria decided to seek help. She learned about the power of cognitive restructuring and began to apply it in her daily life. Instead of assuming she would fail, Maria started asking herself, "What evidence do I have to support this thought?" She soon realized that her fears were based on assumptions, not facts. She also practiced mindfulness, taking a few minutes each day to focus on her breath and center herself before challenging tasks. Within a few weeks, Maria's anxiety began to diminish. She found that when she took a step back and questioned her negative thoughts, she could approach situations with a clearer, more confident mindset. Today, Maria has not only gained greater confidence at work, but has also become more resilient in the face of challenges. Her story proves that by recognizing and confronting negative thought patterns, we can shift our mindset and unlock our true potential. 2. John's story. Overcoming fear of failure. John, a 45-year-old entrepreneur, had always been haunted by a fear of failure. He would procrastinate on important decisions and projects, paralyzed by the thought that anything he tried would fail. This negative thinking kept him from moving forward with his business and caused him immense stress. Realizing that his fear of failure was holding him back, John started practicing affirmations and positive self-talk. He replaced his thoughts like, "I'm not good enough to succeed," with, "I have the skills and resources to make this work." He also began using the 5-second rule to break the cycle of indecision and get started on tasks immediately, rather than waiting for the perfect moment. By consistently practicing these techniques, John was able to overcome his fear of failure and start making decisions with confidence. He saw his business grow as he became more proactive and stopped letting his negative thoughts dictate his actions. John's experience is a great example of how positive self-talk and taking immediate action can turn fear into motivation, ultimately leading to success. 3. Laura's transformation, from depression to gratitude. Laura, a 29-year-old teacher, struggled with feelings of depression for several years. She often felt like nothing was going right in her life, and her thoughts were dominated by negativity. She found herself constantly focusing on what she didn't have, whether it was financial stability, career progress, or personal relationships, and rarely appreciated the good things in her life. After attending a mindfulness workshop, Laura learned about the power of gratitude and began to incorporate it into her daily routine. Each day, she would write down 3 things she was grateful for, no matter how small. Over time, she noticed a shift in her perspective. Instead of focusing on what was wrong, Laura began to see the abundance in her life and felt a sense of peace and joy she hadn't experienced in years. Today, Laura practices gratitude daily and feels a profound sense of connection and contentment. Her story highlights how shifting our focus from scarcity to abundance can help us overcome negative thinking and cultivate lasting happiness. These success stories show us that overcoming negative thoughts is not only possible, but can lead to powerful changes in our lives. By adopting the right tools such as cognitive restructuring, positive self-talk, mindfulness, and gratitude, anyone can break free from the cycle of negativity and create a more fulfilling and peaceful life. In the next chapter, we'll explore how practicing mental silence on a daily basis can help you maintain emotional balance and transform your mindset in the long term. The key to breaking free from negative thoughts is not just applying techniques when you feel overwhelmed, but making them a daily practice. When you incorporate these strategies into your daily routine, you begin to change the way your mind works, making it easier to maintain a positive and balanced outlook over time. 1. The power of consistency. Overcoming negative thoughts isn't something that happens overnight. It's a journey that requires consistent effort. The more you practice techniques like cognitive restructuring, mindfulness, and positive self-talk, the more natural they will become. Just like physical exercise, mental exercises need regular practice to strengthen your ability to control your thoughts. Daily practice. Tip: set aside a few minutes each day to practice one or two of the strategies we've discussed. Whether it's starting your morning with affirmations, taking breaks to practice mindfulness throughout the day, or challenging negative thoughts when they arise, consistency is key. The more you make these practices a part of your routine, the more effortlessly they will integrate into your everyday life. Before long, you'll find that your mind naturally defaults to a positive perspective, rather than spiraling into negativity. 2. Long-term emotional balance. Daily practice isn't just about stopping negative thoughts in their tracks. It's about building emotional resilience. Over time, you'll develop the ability to bounce back quicker from stress and challenges, and your emotional responses will be more balanced. Instead of being overwhelmed by negative thoughts, you'll be able to observe them without getting attached and calmly return to a place of balance. Example: think of how you might have reacted to stress 6 months ago compared to how you react now. If you have been practicing mindfulness or cognitive restructuring, you might find that you respond with more calmness and clarity, rather than with anxiety or anger. This gradual shift helps you stay emotionally centered in a world that is constantly changing. 3. Creating a positive feedback loop. The more you practice shifting your mindset, the more positive experiences you will start to attract. When you focus on the present, acknowledge the good in your life, and challenge negative thoughts, you naturally create a positive feedback loop. As you begin to experience the benefits of these practices, greater peace, reduced anxiety, and improved relationships, you will feel more motivated to continue practicing. This creates a cycle of positivity that continues to build on itself, transforming your mindset and ultimately your life. 4. Patience and self-compassion. Finally, it's important to be patient with yourself as you progress on this journey. Self-compassion is vital in this process. Recognize that change takes time, and it's okay to have moments where you slip into negative thinking. What matters is your willingness to get back on track and continue your practice. Self-compassion. Tip: be kind to yourself when negative thoughts return. Remind yourself that it's part of being human. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. By integrating these practices into your daily routine, you'll start to notice a lasting shift in your mental and emotional state. The transformation will be gradual, but with consistency, you'll find that your mind becomes a powerful ally in creating the life you want. Now that we've explored how making these practices a daily habit can transform your life, it's time to take the next step. In the following chapter, we will discuss how mental silence plays a crucial role in maintaining emotional balance and achieving a deeper sense of peace and well-being. Mental silence is a cornerstone of overcoming negative thoughts. While we've discussed techniques to interrupt and challenge negative thinking, there's an additional layer to achieving lasting emotional balance: mental silence. This doesn't mean an absence of thought, but rather a state of calmness where your mind is free from the clutter of constant worry and negativity. Mental silence allows you to observe your thoughts without getting caught up in them, providing clarity, peace, and a deeper connection to the present moment. 1. What is mental silence? Mental silence refers to the ability to quiet the noise in your mind, those ongoing thoughts, judgments, and worries that often dominate your daily life. It's not about suppressing thoughts, but rather allowing them to come and go without identifying with them or getting emotionally caught up in them. When you practice mental silence, You're creating space between yourself and your thoughts, giving you the ability to respond to them with more awareness and intention. While negative thoughts will always arise, the key is to not become attached to them. By practicing mental silence, you develop the ability to step back and observe your thoughts without being swept away by them. This helps you regain control over your mental state and allows you to choose how you react to situations, instead of reacting automatically. 2. The power of silence in breaking the negative cycle. One of the most significant benefits of mental silence is its ability to break the cycle of negative thinking. Negative thoughts often feed off each other, spiraling into deeper anxiety, stress, or self-doubt. When you allow your mind to quiet, you interrupt this cycle. This creates a mental reset, where you can assess situations from a clearer, calmer perspective. How to practice mental silence. Start with a few minutes of silence each day. Begin by sitting quietly for a few minutes each day, focusing on your breath. As thoughts arise, simply observe them and let them pass without judgment. Don't try to push them away. Just notice them, acknowledge them, and return your focus to your breath or the present moment. Create moments of silence. Throughout the day, in addition to a formal practice, look for moments throughout the day to practice mental silence. This could be during your morning routine, when you're walking, or while commuting. These brief pauses allow you to reset your mind and experience the present moment more fully. The more you practice mental silence, the easier it becomes to detach from your thoughts and reduce their impact on your emotions. Over time, you'll notice that you're less reactive to stress and negative thoughts, and more capable of maintaining a sense of inner peace. 3. The impact of mental silence on emotional well-being. Mental silence has a profound impact on your emotional well-being. It provides the space for emotional balance by allowing you to experience emotions without being overwhelmed by them. When you practice mental silence, you create an environment where emotions can arise, be felt, and then naturally pass without becoming a source of distress. For example, if you feel anger or frustration, you might initially notice the emotional reaction. However, through the practice of mental silence, you can observe the emotion without getting swept up in it. Instead of letting the anger dictate your behavior, you can choose how to respond, whether it's through mindful action, taking a deep breath, or stepping back from the situation. This ability to respond with awareness rather than reaction is key to maintaining emotional balance. It gives you control over your emotional state, making it easier to handle challenges without falling into the trap of negative thinking. 4. Mental silence and spiritual connection. In addition to emotional benefits, mental silence also provides a gateway to spiritual connection. As we quiet the mind, we begin to connect with a deeper part of ourselves, the essence of who we truly are. When the mental chatter subsides, we can experience a sense of peace and clarity that transcends the noise of everyday life. Many people who practice mental silence report feeling more connected to their inner wisdom, intuition, and a sense of universal consciousness. Whether through meditation, prayer, or simply sitting in stillness, these moments of silence allow us to reconnect with our true selves and with the world around us. It's in these moments of silence that we experience pure awareness, which is free from judgment and distraction. 5. Integrating mental silence into your daily life. Just like any other practice, mental silence requires consistency to yield lasting benefits. While it's essential to set aside time each day for formal practice, it's equally important to integrate moments of mental silence throughout your day. Tips for integrating mental silence. Morning and evening routines. Start and end your day with a few minutes of quiet reflection or meditation. This sets the tone for your day and helps you wind down in the evening. Mindful breaks. Take breaks throughout the day to check in with yourself. These moments can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths, noticing your surroundings, or giving yourself a mental pause to reset. Observe thoughts without judgment. When negative thoughts arise, rather than reacting to them, try to step back and observe them. Recognize that they are just thoughts and let them pass without attachment. By making mental silence a part of your daily routine, you begin to build a foundation of inner calm that supports your overall well-being. Over time, You'll find that your ability to stay present and emotionally balanced becomes second nature. Now that we've explored the power of mental silence and how it can support emotional balance, the next chapter will delve into how this daily practice can create lasting transformation, leading to a more peaceful and empowered life. As we come to the end of this video, it's important to remember that overcoming negative thoughts and silencing the mind is a journey, not a destination. The strategies we've discussed, cognitive restructuring, mindfulness, thought substitution, and mental silence, are tools that can help you take control of your mind and create a more peaceful, balanced life. But these tools require consistent practice and patience. It's crucial to understand that negative thoughts will arise. They're a natural part of being human. What matters is how you respond to them. By incorporating the techniques we've discussed into your daily routine, you can begin to interrupt the cycle of negativity and replace it with healthier, more constructive thinking patterns. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to let go of the thoughts that no longer serve you, and the more room you create for peace, clarity, and positivity. The path to overcoming negative thoughts isn't always easy, but it's entirely possible. It's about creating new habits, shifting your mindset, and taking small steps every day. You can begin by implementing just one or two of the practices we've discussed today and gradually build from there. Remember, change takes time, and you don't have to be perfect. What matters is your commitment to the process and your willingness to keep moving forward. If you found these strategies helpful, I encourage you to take action today. Start applying these tools and watch as your mindset shifts over time. And if you need support along the way, don't hesitate to revisit this video or reach out to others who are on the same journey. Call to action. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content on personal growth and mental well-being. Also, share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how these strategies are working for you and what other topics you'd like to explore. Remember, you are in control of your mind, and you have the power to change your thoughts. Start today, take small steps, and watch as you begin to transform your mindset and your life. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.